This video will discuss the eligibility criteria for employees in receiving the JobKeeper payment and explain the components of the JobKeeper eligibility report. So, which employees are eligible for the JobKeeper payment? As a minimum, an employee must have been employed by the employer on the 1st of March 2020 and continues to be employed by that employer. If they were stood down before the commencement of this subsidy, if they are re-engaged by a business that was their employer on the 1st of March 2020, they must be at least 16 years of age, they are either full-time or part-time, if they are long-term casuals, i.e. casuals employed on a regular basis for longer than 12 months, as at the 1st of March 2020. If they are an Australian citizen, the holder of a permanent visa, or a special category subclass 444 visa holder. And lastly, they must not be in receipt of a JobKeeper payment from another employer. In order to make the employee component as straightforward as possible, we've created a JobKeeper eligibility report to help you quickly identify eligible employees. You can access this report by navigating to the reports page. And the JobKeeper eligibility report is under the employees list. Now, when we run the report, for the purposes of the video, I'm going to run it for all pay schedules. But if you click on this, it will actually show any pay schedule that has been added to the business and also any default location. In this case, there's only one location for this business, but it will show all locations that have been added. I'm going to go ahead and run the report here and expand everyone. If we focus firstly on the eligibility status, they will either be eligible, as in the case of this employee here. This is based on all the relevant employee data and the employee meets the eligibility test in this scenario. Another status could be ineligible. Again, that's based on all relevant employee data, and this indicates the employee does not meet the eligibility test. This could be for a number of different reasons. In the case of this employee, Brandon, it's because his start date is after the 1st of March 2020, and it will actually tell you why. The third status that is possible will be may be eligible. In this case, certain assumptions have been made based on the relevant employee data. So for these employees, it's best to double check with the employee so a definite decision can be made. If an employee is deemed either ineligible or may be eligible, the report will detail the reasons for such a decision, as we've seen here for Brandon, but also here for Brendan. This is because he's not claiming the tax-free threshold. In this case, it may be because he's actually receiving JobKeeper from another employer. Just to give you a bit of background info on the assumptions that we make when determining an employee as may be eligible, there's a couple of factors. The first one is where an employee is not claiming the tax-free threshold, as is the case that we've seen here with Brendan. It means that this job might not be their primary source of income. An employee is not eligible for the JobKeeper payment if they are already in receipt of such a payment from another employer. In these cases, as I've said, it's best to check with the employee whether or not they are already receiving the JobKeeper payment from another employer. The second factor to consider is that employees that do not have the Australian resident for tax purposes checkbox ticked on their tax file declaration may not be eligible because they're not an Australian citizen, the holder of a permanent visa, or a special category subclass 444 visa holder. Again, it's best to check with the employee on their visa status. If you record an employee visas using our qualifications function, you can generate a qualifications report to review employee visa details. Also, employees configured with an employment type of labour hire or superannuation income stream are considered ineligible. And you'll see here on this report, there's a couple of employees where that is the case. The reason given here is it's not a valid employment type. An important thing to note, just to finish this video up, is in regards to the report, is that it does not include incomplete or terminated employees. If you have reinstated an employee, you must ensure that they are reactivated in the system so that they appear in the report. So as you can see, it's a fairly straightforward report, but extremely helpful in helping you determine which employees are eligible for the JobKeeper payment. And please contact the ATO for further information regarding COVID-19 strategies in order to help your business through this difficult time. Thanks very much.